So tell my viewers, who is Chef Adam? What differentiates a home chef from a professional chef? You can have somebody that's in the hood, or you can have Meemaw that's been down the street making plates for people for years. She can actually, you taste her food like, man, you should have your own restaurant.
I think Chef Adam is somebody willing to bet on himself.
Mm.
I had moments where things looked great, moments where life looked like nothing I thought it would. I had moments where I've had to pivot, even from learning how to, you can't react and respond to certain things when you on a certain path, because it's going to be distractions that come and you're not perfect. So you gotta keep walking through whatever fire come. My whole mindset was I could never be in a group because I wouldn't want someone else's work ethic to determine my success. I could never allow how far I go be determined on what someone else isn't doing. If for whatever reason, if it's not in God's plans for me to make it, it was because of something that I did. And I'm cool with eating that.
I want to tell you, and it seems to be the thing that's been common with individuals I bring on the show. And I say the same thing. You're walking in purpose. You are literally walking in purpose. And how life shows you that, how life shows us that, it's a story like you just now said about your mom with the butterflies. That date. That's life showing you, man, I don't know what the next step's supposed to be, but that's life saying you're taking the right step.
For sure.
That's the answers when we say we praying for an answer, show me a sign. And we always see signs, but we don't have the acumen and understanding about how life works to say this is that sign.
Your life doesn't have to look the way you originally planned it for it to still become something beautiful. I've had wins. I've had losses. I've had moments where I've had to pivot, rebuild, figure out who Adam was. And I'm still figuring some of that out. But I learned that sometimes you have to be willing to bet on yourself before anybody else sees the vision. You can be scared and still move. You can lose something and still rebuild. You can start over without starting from nothing.
Oof. Man. Ladies and gentlemen, he may be a poet as well. I don't know.
It was a tough time and it was hard and I didn't understand. And even becoming an adult, I still didn't understand like the why. Like, what did I do? I ain't asked to be here, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But looking at the positive aspect of it is just like, but look at what all you have become.
Yeah.
Look at all the people that you have touched.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I guess I'm doing pretty good.
Hey, what's going on? This is another episode of Talks with Ken. I am your host, Kendrick. This is the place where motivation lives, inspiration thrives, and personal growth resides. Yes. I'm so happy to have you guys in the building or out there in the car, in TV land, wherever you are. I'm glad you are taking the time out of your schedule to listen to little old me. And as promised, I will continue to bring those guests onto the show that will move you in certain ways to make you get off the stool of do nothing and start to live your life in purpose, on purpose, and not by accident, okay? But before we do that, we got some business to handle. I know there are a lot of individuals that are watching my show, and you haven't subscribed yet. Go ahead and click that link to subscribe because we need to be the change in order to see the change in our community, okay? So go ahead and hit that subscribe link, and I will be so happy and grateful that you are a part of the community, okay? And then what I want you guys to understand this. I started this community and this podcast so that I can inspire those who are wanting to start anew in their life, make some pivots in their life. And I want to encourage you to follow along as I bring these guests on the show, utilizing their trials, their tribulations, and some of their triumphs in their areas of expertise. So really get a pen and pad. Say, take some notes. They may have overcome some things that you are currently going through. You can be as young as high school and middle school. You can be as old as about to be retired. But there's never too late to start anew in your life. So please listen to these stories that I am bringing to you guys. These individuals have taken the time out of their busy schedules to come onto this platform, showing faith in the movement. So, and then also show them love by following their process. Okay. So without further ado, I want to get in and discuss or introduce my next guest. So we had a health and wellness coach on here not too long ago, and I said, man, there's a lot of individuals that need to get in summer shape. All right. I ain't saying this is gonna totally get you in summer shape, but you're gonna feel good. I'm saying you're gonna feel good. And this guest that I got on today, man, he is one of them ones. When I say one of them ones in the culinary arts, I had crossed paths with him some years ago, and he's still doing it. He just elevated it to whole new higher heights and new levels. He is flying at altitude. Let me introduce you to my guest, Chef Adam Poppy Beastro Morris. How you doing, Chef?
Good, good. How you doing? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing well. Better now that you on the show. I've been anticipating this, man. I was thinking about you in this interview when I was meal prepping this weekend. I said, man, hopefully he can kind of give us all some tips in the kitchen.
For sure.
But without further ado, let's dive into who you are as an individual and what is your profession. So tell my viewers, who is Chef Adam?
Well, honestly, and again, raw and uncut, Chef Adam is somebody who kept becoming.
Mm.
That's in a nutshell, that's who I am. And I guess to kind of peel them layers back, because I'm sure a lot of people probably just heard that and was like, what does that mean?
Talk to him.
I'm not a finished product. I'm a chef. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a creative. I'm an artist. I'm somebody who loves helping people and connecting people. But I'm also someone who's had to learn some hard lessons about business, relationships, loyalty, access, even myself. And having to do all of that through life, through love, through grief. That's a lot. That's a lot mentally, emotionally. That's a lot for anybody to take on. And for me personally, I know what it feels like for somebody, for example, like gatekeep on an opportunity for me. And because of that, I've tried very hard to not become that person. Like I've opened doors, I've connected chefs, I've opened my own home. I've given people information, opportunities without asking for, what I was going to get back in return. And in some experiences, it hurt me because everybody didn't value it the way I thought they would, but they taught me something. I don't have to change my heart. I have to change my boundaries. And for me as Ink Chef, and then watching this thing, just literally watching how I spoke this into existence, and watched it move as I kept seeing it. And I used to hear all the time, like, words have so much power.
Yeah.
One of the things that like my mom used to say to us and my parents, like, never say you broke. Even if you ain't got it, don't speak that over yourself because of how powerful words are. And I took that to heart at a very young age, and I've constantly continued to say, like, yo, we're not gonna keep working corporate America. Full circle moment for me this past weekend, and I'm gonna stop because I know you got more questions.
No, go ahead.
I did a wedding for a beautiful family, Miss Yolanda, shout out to her and Anselm. And the wedding, this is how in tune I am with the craft and how the love of people I have. The wedding was on my mother's death anniversary, August 8th. And it didn't click for me until later that night. I opened Facebook and my sister was like, I gotta go to my mom's grave. And I'm like, why is she, like, where's this coming from? And it hit, like, my mom had a thing about butterflies, and I saw so many butterflies all day Saturday. And it clicked like, God, today is the day you lost your mother 6 years ago. And my mom was a chef, one of the biggest inspirations of my life. And I felt so compelled, like, man, like I honored her by doing what she loved best, which is, giving people love through good food, like making people smile. And the full circle moment came is when the bride's son walked up to me at the wedding and he just hugged me. His name is DJ. And I'm like, man, what you doing here? He's like, man, that's my mom. I'm like, what? Like it caught me off guard because at the tasting, she said, my son knows you. He vouched for you. And I'm like, who's your son? And it wasn't clicking. Got to the wedding and see him. And I'm like, man, and he pulled me aside and he goes, I remember when you launched, you was just doing the Cuban style sandwiches and we were all working at Spectrum. And he said, you said, I ain't about to do this for too much longer. And to watch you continue to walk in it and you kept speaking it. And now you travel the country full time cooking for people. So it's one of the moments that it hit me so hard in so many different ways that it was just like, man, like I lost my mom here, but I kept speaking. Like I kept speaking what she said and I watched it come to fruition. So at the core, I think Chef Adam is somebody willing to bet on himself.
Mm.
I had moments where things looked great, moments where life looked like nothing I thought it would. I had moments where I've had to pivot even from like learning how to, you can't react and respond to certain things when you on a certain path because it's going to be distractions that come and you're not perfect, especially as a man, you're not perfect. So you gotta keep walking through whatever fire come. And I'll be real, like even in those moments where it looked like, man, I don't know, I just continue to create, continue to cook, continue to dream, continue to figure it out. So when you ask me who is Chef Adam, I think he's still becoming who he's supposed to be, and I'm actually proud of that. That's who
Man,
Chef Adam is.
man. Number one, can I tell you thank you for that response? Man, that was all needed. I understood what you were saying in that one statement, but unpacking that, letting my viewers in on the mindset, the man behind the magic when it comes into the kitchen and the culinary arts, that was huge. And I think that it's big, and we're gonna unpack it during the session because you said a mouthful is the number one. I want to tell you, and it seems to be the the thing that's been common with individuals I bring on the show. And I say the same thing. You're walking in purpose.
For
You are
sure.
literally walking in purpose. And how life shows you that, how life shows us that, it's the story like you just now said about your mom with the butterfly. That date. That's life showing you, man, I don't know what the next step's supposed to be, but that's life saying you're taking the right step.
For
That
sure.
that's the answers when we say we praying for an answer, show me a sign. And we always see signs, but we don't have the acumen and understanding about how life works to say this is that sign. And
Yeah.
so a lot of what you said, when you walking in purpose, living a purpose-filled life, the Most High God, He shows us in a funny way sometimes. Man, I need this, man, and that shows up in an odd way.
Hmm.
I don't really know what's next. Oh, I thought you might need this. It might come in the way of another person. It might come from a job opportunity. It might come from a friend who know a friend who knows a friend to introduce you to somebody. That's
Absolutely.
literally talking about walking in purpose. And we gonna dive deep in a little bit of that and get to know you in that process so we can tell that story, okay?
For sure.
But first off, let's go down memory lane. How and why did you gain the love for the culinary arts?
Um, so growing up, I raised in a house full of cooks. My mother, my grandmother, they all cooked. And my mom, one of the first things she taught us how to cook was oodles and noodles, or
Talk to
some
me.
people call it
I
like
had to
ramen.
say.
The cool thing about it though, like my mom didn't just take the pack and dump it in the noodles. She would grab like sazon, adobo, like she would add little things to it. So one day we watched her do it, and I'm like, man. She's like, well, try to make it. So I did, and I started adding stuff. And her whole thing was like, some recipes, they're not broke. You don't need to fix them. You just take and make it you. So like, I started doing that, and then it got to a point where she would like not make the ramen anymore. She was like, can you guys make me ramen? Because now y'all make it better. And as I approach recipes, and then as I've grown up through cooking, that's been my thing. Like, man, I had this. This was great, but what could I do to make this taste better or take it to another level? Even before like becoming a chef, just as like a home cook, kid, whatever. Um, and I just love the culinary world in itself. I'll be honest, looking back from now, would
Yeah.
have never thought I would have ended up being a chef
Yeah.
because I was trending heavy into the R&B music scene. And
Talk to me.
yeah, so a whole R&B artist, shout out to SC Fam Music Group. Um, I loved it. Great scene. But quickly realized like some of that life just ain't,
And do
it's
you.
yeah, it's not me. And
Yeah.
it was fun, but there's a lot of sacrifice that comes with that. And one of my like most groundbreaking moments, and I don't even talk to a lot of people about it, is you remember the TV show Rob and Big?
Man, yeah.
So Big Black, I had just released a video called Big Boy Love, and I was on Instagram tagging everybody, like every major artist, A&R I could find. And I mean, anybody that was a celebrity I was tagging. And I tagged Big Black, and I never forget, he popped me a message in my DMs on Instagram and was like, yo, this is dope. And at the time, I was in Texas getting ready to go to LA, just promoting the single. He's like, are you still in LA or where you at right now? I was like, well, I'm in Texas. I fly to LA in the morning. He's like, come have lunch with me. And I'm like, yeah, right. This is a fake page. Like, I'm like, stop playing.
Yo,
Like,
he was bigger than life at that moment.
yeah, like, he was the man.
Yeah.
Man, he sent me his cell phone number and was like, no, this ain't no fake page. Call me. And I was like, oh, snap. So I called him and like, we linked up, had lunch. He was like, yo, I'm really, really rocking with what you're doing. You know, give me 6 months, I'll make you a millionaire. I called my producer and I was like, yo, this is what he said. The first thing my producer said was, act like you've been there. When you get in this room with these people, don't act like a fan. Treat them like me and you just sitting here talking. Treat them like regular people.
That is correct, yeah.
So I was like, okay, so I'm trying not to fanboy out. And I mean, he did a lot of amazing things. And you touched on it a minute ago. You was like, you know, sometimes God has seen you the signs or you'll pray for things. And I don't think at that point in life, had I walked that journey, my maturity level, I wouldn't have been able to handle it. Like I would have probably fumbled it. I probably would have made some crazy decisions. I wasn't ready for that at that point. He passed away like 2 or 3 weeks later. He was like, our last conversation, he was like, hey, one of my childhood best friends is Ruben Studdard. We're going to go down to Alabama. We're going to have a conversation with him. We're going to get in the studio. I'm pumped. I'm like, yes, in here. Agent called me and passed away. I was like, what? Like, and it was like taking candy from a baby. Like, I was crushed. And it put such a sour taste in my mouth with the R&B music. Like, I just cold turkey stopped. And one of the next tattoos I got out of that, I tattooed and said on my left arm, which, you know, anything on the left side of my body is like more so religious and more so like a praise to God in some form. And I said, I hear your voice and I see your signs. Because in that moment, I understood, I like opened my eyes to what was really going on around me in general. And, you know, God rest his soul, 'cause he was an amazing person. But from a me point, I had to stop and look at myself and realize like I wanted this for all the wrong reasons. I didn't want it for purpose.
Yeah.
Like it was very much it was just selfish reasons. That's the easiest way to say it. And it, like I said, real quick made me realize like when you pray and you ask for signs, like you truly have to be open.
Yep.
Even when you don't want to accept
Correct.
what the answer is, you have to be open to be like, okay, like I hear you. And that was a time in life that I would have messed that all up because my mentality, even about relationship at that time, I just wasn't on it. Looking back, if this same guy sitting here with you today and we were to do that, run that back, it would be a totally different game changer. Like it would be like, yeah, we ready now. Like the maturity level is there. We understand what the goal is and what we really trying to do and the message we want to push. And I took that break from music to be like, I was sitting with a Capitol Records exec and he told me, he said, what else do you love to do besides music? Like, what would make you a household name? What else would make people love you? And I was like, I love to cook. He's like, go to culinary school. Focus on food. Focus on food and let people love you for that reason. You doing your weight loss journey. Let people follow you and know you on another level. The music will always be here. You may come back to it later, but pivot and focus. And I took that to heart and did exactly what he said and just started focusing on the food. And when I did R&B music, my whole mindset was I could never be in a group because I wouldn't want someone else's work ethic to determine my success. I can't depend on that, right? So I I took the food. I went with that same mentality, like, yeah, like I can work with and connect with anybody. Like I can walk in a room and change the whole mood,
Mm-hmm.
but I could never allow how far I go be determined on what someone else isn't doing. Like, or uh-uh. If for whatever reason, if it's not in God's plans for me to make it, it was because of something that I did. And I'm cool with eating that. I would never be cool with eating Kendrick ain't show up last week. Like I can't control that.
Bro,
But I can control what I do.
let me. Well, you dropping all kind of bombs on us today. But I say that, man, because what you said is, I too had that point of realization. Um, Many years ago, because you try a whole bunch of stuff when you're younger, and I'm gonna equate this to your story as well. And I know you don't beat yourself up for what you didn't know, but it makes us who we are today. And in
For sure.
hindsight, we can always say, we did this, but it makes us who we are. It makes us be able to carry more weight. But with that same thing, I never wanted to have as I get older, because again, I'm 42 years old. I realized that, man, either I'm waiting for permission from somebody else, I'm waiting for somebody else's time to be even with my time. It's a couple of network marketing things that you try. It's like, well, hold on. My success is tied to the people that's under me? Nah. Nah,
Right.
because I go hard. I go hard for myself. I've failed at high levels. I've failed, out loud, and I failed in solitude.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they've been on that journey yet. So I started to really heavily bet on myself. I'm gonna butcher this, but it was either Earl Nightingale or one of them other motivational speakers. If you want to go far, have a team around you, that kind of a deal. But man, it starts with you. It
Yeah.
starts with you. You got to be able to see that dream, that vision. And if you let you down, you let you down. And I while I'm on this podcast, I could have easily had a group of individuals on this podcast. But if somebody didn't show up, if somebody see, man, you ain't got enough likes, you ain't got enough clicks. I don't know, man. I'm kind of tired. The missus ain't gonna let me out the house. No, man. This is I'm walking in purpose. And so
Yeah.
when you talking about that, and it's easy to see it when individuals have gone through that, went through those valleys, and regardless of what's around the corner, you don't know, you still dare to take the next step. That's what makes those high achievers separate from those ones that want to achieve. It is exactly what you just now talked about, man. And and then so speak about to the viewers. So you had you got this information from somebody who saw something in you that you probably didn't see in yourself at that time. You had something that's already instilled in you, but you had somebody speak life and plant that seed inside of you. What was next? You like, man, I just want to go into the culinary arts. I got to go to culinary school. Like, how do I get the means? Like for that young boy, that young girl, that's like, man, how do I even start? What did you do?
Honestly, I went and talked to my mom.
Hmm.
I went home and had a whole breakdown moment and was like, we were gonna be okay. Like my goal was to make sure y'all are straight. She looked at me and said, "Son, what were your other goals?" And I just got quiet. She said, "Was you doing it for love? Did you just want the attention?" Like she broke that thing down.
Go ahead,
And
mom. Go ahead.
her and my aunt Vet, man, like God, I love them. They like mothers because they sat me down and they hit me with the real. They didn't tell me what I wanted to hear. They was like, "Nah, you think about the lifestyle that you was getting ready to walk into." And my mom, heavy in the church, she used to be like, "Yeah, she had this saying of sometimes you'll do things that you do things that you don't want to do to get where you want to be or where you're supposed to be." And I used to disagree with that. And she used to be like, in the end, this is one of the last things she said to me before she passed away. She said, "But whenever you come back to music, if you do, yeah, you may make another R&B record." She said, "But I guarantee you're gonna go gospel." And I was just looked at her, I was like, "No, I won't." She's like, "Yes, you will." Exactly what, that's exactly what she said. And when we had that breakdown moment, not to get sidetracked, but
No, no, you go
it's
ahead.
all together. It was one of those things where she was they pretty much was like, you followed us in the kitchen. You've been in restaurant growing up. Like one of my first jobs was McDonald's. Like, man, most people start off in fast food.
Burger King.
You know what I'm saying? So that's typically where it happens. And I found a love for it then. I used to there was an individual owned McDonald's in Albemarle, North Carolina, and the guy, the owner, I never forget him, Mr. Ronnie Thornton. Super stern, but like he got you right, like military right. But his mom used to come in, her and like the older ladies being there 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, like making the biscuits from scratch. And that was one of the first cooking teaching moments outside of the oodles and noodles that I had of making something like fresh. And it was fun. It was just like, man, this is a cool experience. And seeing how happy they were, the joy, and I remember she telling me, she's like, it's relaxing. It brings me peace. And I didn't get it then. You know, I'm 16 years old. It's not clicking. Again, looking back in hindsight and kind of like now, it's like, man, like this is peace. Like I'm doing this. And in the moment, it seems like it's so much chaos, right? And even when I tried to start food, it was just like, okay, where do I start? Do I try to sell a plate? Like, I didn't know nothing about nothing. And my mom was like, go to school and just learn about it. And I was like, all right, cool. And I went to school, and I'll never knock culinary school. Culinary school is dope. It's a great experience.
We about to get into it. Go ahead. Go ahead. This I want to know.
Culinary school is gonna teach you the technicality. It'll teach you things like knife skills. It'll teach you things like how to properly keep food safe for people. Growing up at the house, my mom used to rinse the sink out and throw chicken in the sink and season it. You know what I'm saying? I never forget the first time I did it for a girl I was dating. I was cooking for her family. It was like, you putting chicken in the sink? I'm like, yeah, y'all don't
They
do
never
this?
seen that?
They looking at me crazy. And culinary school, you understand why that don't work or why you shouldn't do that. Let me say that.
I got you.
But at the same time, I never got sick growing up with seasoned chicken out the sink. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't get sick. You know what I'm saying? My mom, and I'm not trying to knock anything, but I don't watch my mom, same thing. She seasoned that chicken in, some fish going right behind it, maybe some shrimp. We never got sick. We ain't get sick. But culinary school teaches you like the safety, the propers, the do's, the don'ts, properly storing things, how long you should keep things holding and then get rid of it. Then you get deeper into it. You start learning like why, like from a DHEC standpoint, you shouldn't give food away. Like the risks. You learn all those things.
Wow.
Because on the outside looking in, I used to be like, man, all this food these restaurants throw away. There's so many homeless people out here. Why don't y'all give them the food? Like, that's crazy. Like, you just throwing it away. It's people who could eat this. And then it's just like, yeah, on the flip side of that, you got people who will sue you if they get sick. So now it's like you trying to balance between doing what's right or what you and your heart feel is right versus like, I'm just about to be wasteful. So it's like it's again with school, I would encourage anybody. You want to go to culinary school, go. Don't go into culinary school with the mindset of like culinary school is about to teach me how to make the best seasoned chicken in the world. No, it's not. And again, it's not a knock. You're going to learn that trial and error. Getting in your kitchen playing, cooking for people and letting people tell you the truth. Like, nah, this wasn't it. Like, I need a little more salt. I was privileged enough to go out of the country to Colombia and learn with some chefs and things like that. And watching how they season and even different Caribbean chefs telling me like, chef, this is spot on. Go less. If you cook this in batches, salt a batch, don't salt a batch. Because if you're going to combine it, it's going to all balance out. Culinary school don't teach you that. It was me going into the streets and getting with chefs one-on-one and learning. And that's how I went about it. Like, I learned from a lot of home cooks who in my eyes are amazing chefs. They just might not have the school paperwork to say chef, but absolutely amazing. And I look at people like, for example, like Bobby Flay, who, it doesn't matter if you're a chef, you can be a home cook. They come on there and even he is like, this is great food. All of those top hitting chefs, they give these chefs their flowers because at the end of the day, good food is good food. Like you can't deny good food.
That was my question too. My follow-up question to what you just said was what differentiates a home chef from a professional chef? You can have somebody that's in the hood, or you can have Meemaw that's been down the street making plates for people for years. She can actually you taste her food like, man, you should have your own restaurant. But it's a whole bunch of people that think they should have their own restaurant. What is one of those misconceptions that really good chefs at home think or have about cooking professionally?
I think it's one thing to be really talented at your craft and running like a successful business. It's two different skill sets. And what happens is, in my opinion, and just even in my journey, super talented in my craft, knew nothing about the business. Nothing. Right. So like people would say, oh, you should get a restaurant. Like, and I've said that to people like, man, why your grandma ain't got no restaurant nowhere, like, or a food truck. But it's sometimes is we are a product of our environment.
Right. Go ahead.
Right. So you don't have somebody out here showing you, hey, like you got this talent. This is how you make this talent work for you and make money for you. Okay, now
Making ends meet.
you making it meet, right? So you have these chefs at home, phenomenal, making fire food and making the killing, but the killing is paying the bills and there's no investment back into the business. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you got it. You got the fans. You got the skills. You on demand. But at some point, who in your ear helping you to be like, this is how you grow this, right? So generational wealth. This is how you grow this and keep the business flowing.
Yes.
And that's where I feel like the difference comes in. And that's why I say like culinary school is important because it teaches you those side of things too, like loss, profit. Like you start learning all those things and then you start understanding. And if you watch enough TV, these food shows, YouTube University nowadays, and especially TikTok,
Awesome.
they're telling you all the same stuff. Like if it cost you $4, when you break it down and you made all these plates of food, why are you selling the plates for 10 or $7? That's crazy. Like sell the plate, right? You know your worth and you add tax to it. Seasoning, time. And I think even like in that, going a little deeper, people sometimes get the misconception like, oh, it's a food truck or it's a caterer, so it should be cheaper. No.
What you
You
tell 'em?
paying for convenience now because now we got to bring the experience, the kitchen. We got to bring all that to you, Kendrick.
I'm guilty.
I'm gonna ask you a question
Yeah.
because some people need to hear this.
Yeah, yeah.
How many restaurants can you go to? Say with 20 people. We just gonna say nice number 20 people.
Yeah.
You get 3 sides, alcohol, non-alcohol, and dessert and multiple entrees for under we're gonna say under $50.
Uh-huh.
How many restaurants you can go to and that happen?
Bruh. Okay, I ain't gonna tell you. People might be like, "Ooh, where he eat it?" All I'm gonna tell you, I'm looking to spend some money on it. I mean, because it's an experience. It's an
Experience.
experience. I mean, now, the young Ken would probably like, dang, what the Ken now? If I'm going out, I'm already having a certain number that I'm even gonna spend. Like, if I go to the halls, if I go to Rick Irwin's, I automatically know the experience is gonna be different.
Mhm.
When I have a private chef come to the house, when I have somebody that cooks for me at a picnic, if it was somebody that's cooking on location, I automatically know it's gonna be a premium because number one, they're making my life better and they mobile. So I do. Not to cut you off, but I do
Well,
agree. Man, people even I mean, my barber had the same thing. When people like, man, I'm paying this much money for cuts. Well, I mean, is your barber like your therapist? Is he making it nice, cool music in the back? Is he dressed appropriate for the occasion? Is it just you and him and y'all focus? Same thing with a chef. I'm paying for the experience. I'm paying for your training. I'm paying for all that kind of stuff. But again, I done been
Uh-huh.
there. I learned it, understand it. But go ahead.
No, and that's the point, right? Because it's like you paying for the experience. I don't know too many restaurants nowadays, not even McDonald's. You can't go to McDonald's for two people and spend less than $20. It doesn't happen.
Hell no. No.
It don't happen.
No. Carl,
So like
me and my wife, we spent just at Culver's, I think $34, just us two.
exactly. But then when you say a restaurant, like you mentioned, Hall's one of my favorite spots. Love Hall's, right? But for two people, food, you're not spending less than 150 more than
Oh no.
likely.
Oh no.
You know what I'm saying? So
Look,
it's just when you have going back to what you asked, when you have these talented chefs, talented, and there's a lot of talented home cooks, grandmas, everything. I pray that someone gets in their ear to help them understand the business side of it because everyone who cooks isn't meant to run a restaurant. Everyone who cook, it's just like every singer ain't meant to be the next Usher or Chris Brown. Everybody ain't meant to be the next LeBron James. You can be talented and there's nothing wrong with that, but that just might not be your calling. Like that might not be the walk that you supposed to walk in. Um, but for me personally, just straight up raw, uncut, the biggest difference between like a home chef and like a trained like culinary chef sometimes is truly exactly what you think it is. It's going to be it's going to be like your paperwork,
see,
so to speak. It's going to be the paperwork.
you know what? And that alone, not even just in culinary, that will stunt a lot of people's want to try. Cause like, man, I know to do this, but I don't know it's two things. People stop before they even get started because they're afraid of getting all the paperwork. They're afraid of getting the licensing. They're afraid of getting all that kind of stuff, the equipment even. And then the other thing is, people spend and eat and live off the profits. I mean, like too soon. Like
Yeah,
you acting like you already made it when you got to really put that back into the business. Like right off,
yeah.
you got to put it
Or
back
you
into the business. I don't care how you live.
pay yourself back. Like you gotta pay it back because like if you invested $2,000, right, to operate for the first time, and then you turn around and you make $4,000, like yeah, you made your money back, but you can't be like I'm gonna spend this whole 4,000 and pay my rent. I get it. You may have bills, but you have to also be like, all right, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take 1,000 and
Yeah,
buy some new equipment. I got to get more inventory. Like you have to, put all of that consideration, and I don't think people do,
man,
unfortunately.
boy, you hit it on that one. And man, and look, let's go back to what you said earlier. So you were talking about you was in the kitchen with your mom. All the way back to the oodles and noodle days. The general public, how in the world does a young kid that's on those TV shows, like from 12-year-old chefs, know what food tastes like from Italy? Know what type of meat, know what halibut tastes like? Know how do they know what seasons to use in these dishes when they coming on these shows? Is that TV or they really like, how do kids get the acumen and understanding so young?
I'm gonna have to say it's for real. It's not TV. I don't think it's all TV
Hey.
because like my mom, like when she like you said, the oodles and noodles, she taught us like, okay, so these peppers and spices are hot. Like if you put it on this how this is gonna change. If you add this season over here, this is how it's gonna balance it back out. If you add this lemon, like she would break it down and my mom she didn't go to culinary school.
Yeah.
She didn't go to culinary school, but she said that's how her family and so forth cooked for her and her grandmothers and stuff growing up. They taught her like this is what worked with this, and it was a lot of trial and error. Again, product for our environment, right?
Yeah.
You nowadays you see families more so taking trips abroad and
Yes.
so
Yeah.
forth for kids to experience. And like I don't have kids at this point in life, and one day I hope to have kids, but I would want my kids to experience there's so much food out here in the world in general. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, don't try sushi because you might not like it. What
Yeah.
if you love it? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, you might love it. Like, it's I can't. It bothers me when people be like, ugh, like you eat squid. And it's like, yeah, but you saying that you eat chitlins, like, and I ain't trying to like talk junk, but it's just like how you knocking something you ain't never tasted? Because what if you really love it for real?
Well, don't step on no feet today, man.
I'm just unapologetic
Hey,
today.
hey, but no, ain't that the truth though? That is
It's
that is the
true.
truth. But I always wondered that, man, because I'm watching these shows. I'm like, man, okay. Next thing. I mean, is it the same when they say, man, all right, now you gonna have this butcher knife. You only 10 years old, but make sure you don't cut a pinky off. How do you introduce a kid to culinary and allow them? I mean, because now I want to say this. We did have my son. We got a little a smaller junior cutting set. It was like plastic. But you could cut veggies, you could cut all that kind of stuff with that. But when we had to cut the protein, we had to go to more real knife. How do you introduce that to a young child, or how would you introduce that to a young child that's in the kitchen?
So honestly, it's the same way I do with chefs and cooks that I work with myself. So the first thing I do is I'll hand them a knife. Give me a second. I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
grab a knife.
Yeah, let me see it. Let me see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab a knife.
Let
Hold
me
on.
see it.
I'm gonna grab a couple knives. All right. So my whole thing at first is, what are you comfortable holding? So here's, it's a pretty big knife, right? This is a bit smaller. And then you got even smaller. If I'm cutting with this, people do this a lot
Correct.
when they cut. And if you ever watch Chef Ann, she used to, when people would do this on like Worst Cooks of America, she would take a Sharpie and as soon as she see this, mark on their finger because you are more liable to slip. And when you go down, you're going to cut your hand, right? So you should hold it and you should tuck because you're protected back here. But if you're holding a knife, doesn't matter what size that knife is, and you're not comfortable with that tuck, my method is get a smaller knife and work your way up. So if you're more comfortable tucking with something like this, use this. E- And I know there's a lot of chefs who may disagree with what I'm about to say, but even if this is the wrong knife to cut whatever protein you're cutting, I don't care. Use this because you're comfortable with it until you can say, okay, now I'm comfortable cutting with this. And then you can say, you know what? I feel real comfortable cutting with this. Trial and error. Are you going to get cut in the kitchen? Hell yeah. Yes.
This weekend.
You going to cut yourself. Are you going to get burned in the kitchen? Absolutely. You know what I mean? Burns and cuts I've had over my hands and over time. That's how you learn, though. That is how you learn. So hold a knife that you're comfortable with first and work your way up to the bigger knives. And once you get to the point to where you got a knife and you're holding it like this and you don't have any issues, you're learning. You're only going to learn this by trying. Even in culinary school, they're going to teach you a very similar thing, but they're going to make you do it. You put your finger on a knife and try to cut like this, which a lot of us do. I guarantee you at some point, you either going to slice your finger or you're going to nick yourself. Every time.
Wow. Battle tested. Wow. Look, so with you, what is your favorite dish to prepare? Like what is your favorite dish that you like, this is my go-to? And a follow-up, not only what is your favorite dish, what is your favorite style of culinary that you like to cook or that you have personally?
So for me, I would say style, cuisine types, anything like Caribbean.
Mm.
That's just my lane. We're Puerto Rican, Colombian background, obviously, African American as well. So I love dealing with Caribbean foods, in every aspect of the word, from Haitian to Jamaican to Puerto Rican to Dominican to Colombian. I love cooking those styles of food. That's gonna be my lane. That's gonna be my specialty. When it comes to proteins, I'm not opposed to any protein. And like even with like making fresh pastas, like I do it all. I don't enjoy baking at all. I can, I just don't. That's just not something I'm like passionate about. But I love seafood. Seafood is my wheelhouse. Doesn't matter what the dish is, seafood wise. I'm always make it and execute when it comes to that. Now, if I flip that question and you be like, what's your favorite thing to eat? Because I hear a lot of times people say, I don't want to cook for a chef. And that can be
Uh,
that's annoying. That's annoying when people be like, I don't want to cook for a chef. I'm like, why? Oh, because you're a chef. I'm like, as a chef, my favorite food is cheeseburger, hamburger helper. That's my favorite food
I
to eat.
love
And
it. I love it. Gosh, I love it.
it's so simple. And let
Hey.
me tell you, that you want to know the way to my heart, make me some cheeseburger, hamburger helper. I'll cook you whatever. I'll cater for you for free almost. Like, That's my thing for sure.
Yeah, I love that, man. You look, and then matter of fact, I think one of the first dishes I've ever tasted of yours and you even so generously gave me the remainder of it was it was like this like
Street corn.
yes.
It was street corn. I'll never forget it. Your
Yeah,
reaction
I
was like
ain't never had that.
crazy. You was like, man, I ain't had this. Like,
I ain't
and you went
never had
crazy
that
about
like
it.
that. I
I
said,
still got the reaction video. I still got the reaction video of
yo,
that day.
yo,
Shout out to AJ. Shout out to AJ.
yeah, dude, bro. I was like, I looked at my wife, I said, I don't know what they put in us, man. But this was something like I ain't never had, and then gobbled it up when we got home that night, and then the next morning I said, "This is crazy." So I mean, do you like like chefs? How do they so how do they build up their recipe dialogue? Do they go into making a dish with only their experiences, their past experiences, knowing what this seasoning tastes like? How do chefs create a dish from scratch?
For me, I will start like that because there's a base. There's always a base somewhere, in every recipe. So like I'll typically start with whatever that base is. So if it's like mac and cheese, we all know cheese noodles, depending on how you make it, right? If
Yeah.
you go on Thanksgiving style, you're gonna get the canned milk, you're gonna get the eggs, right? Salt, pepper, garlic. You gonna that's how my mama did it for
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You're gonna go that way. You're gonna cube that cheese up. But then, then when you want to start getting fancy, like, okay, how I make a roux. So now you incorporating butter, flour, heavy cream, to make it creamy. So you have to build on it. And me, I used to wouldn't share recipes, super transparent. And I remember one time I was talking to my mom, um, and I remember her saying, you can't take them with you. You can't take these with you. So if it dies with you, then what? No one would ever know, and your legacy stops there in this lane.
Mm.
And that hit. So I was like, you know what? Cool. So I came up with this thing. I called it a playbook.
Talk to me.
And it's just like your OG composition, notebook from school, from high school, or middle school, whatever. And I literally we started writing down like the recipes, like, and then as we would change them, we would name the different things, like funny stuff based on what changed it. So we had a sandwich that we made one time, and one of my closest friends, his name is Joey. He was like, "Oh man, you should add some fried pickles and some ranch," and like he just started naming all this random stuff. I'm like, "Oh, okay." So one day we just tried it, and I was like, "This is actually solid." So we named the sandwich the Fat Joey. So it's a lot of the things that we've created and named have been based on experiences through people, in food or things that someone has said, and then we attach them to it in some way. It was the same thing when I did the music. When I was doing music, I literally would write songs based on real life things that was happening or that I went through. My producer and I think one of my closest friends, Rod, they know this. I did a whole mixtape one time, and in the whole mixtape, if you was to go back and listen to the mixtape after I say this, I literally talked about how the relationship I was in at that time, how it started off so good. I told the story of where it went wrong. I told everything we both did, like the toxic, the childish. I told it all, and then ended it with, this is how it ended up at the end. It was all peace. I told the whole story. The girl I was dating at the time, I remember she listened to it after it came out, and she was like, "Thank you." I was like, "Why are you thanking me?" She said, "Because I know everything that you were talking about."
Wow.
As I listened, it told the story step by step, and it's the same thing with the food. Like, we're telling the story step by step. If they just pay attention and listen and taste it, you'll hear that you'll feel the emotion through the food for
I
sure.
always wondered that, man, because we are big fans of watching all these Food Network, Cooking Network shows. Like
For sure.
me and my wife. Is that a what's that format? Doctor, I forgot his name, but he worked with all the animals. Those are the things that we watch in our household. And I'm like, well, how do they know? Like, how do they even know? You kind of you described it. So with this is, and I want to touch on this. I've been wanting to answer this question so bad because it's been haunting me since my Burger King days. How do you balance between cooking food in a way that you like it to be prepared versus how the general public wants it to be prepared? Now, I'm gonna give you an example. I was at the breakfast station one morning. I ain't never been at the breakfast station. I always do the meat. They was like, "Oh, you got some scrambled eggs that got to come up." I scrambled them the way I seen my mama scramble. Like the one that I scrambled them. I ain't do those fluffy eggs. It, like the eggs that come out in big chunks like that. I had to beat it. I was used to that. How do I ain't talking about the eggs, but how do you straddle the fence versus this is how I would like it versus this is how most people are used to having it? How do you straddle that?
Uh,
Or do you think
I'm
about it at all? Like this is me.
so I think it's something that you have to learn as a professional. Like, I had to hear somebody say this to me. Like, I love spice personally. I
Mhm.
love spice. And I had to hear somebody say, everybody don't like spicy food. So you can't cook it like Adam, like you cooking for Adam all the time.
Yeah.
And there are things that I personally like. I just kind of like you said with the eggs, like it's things that you just personally like prepared a certain way. There's flavors that you want that might be stronger, seasonings that you want that are heavier,
Yeah, yeah.
even techniques that you want to use, right? But when you cooking professionally or even like catering, you got to understand the audience. Like you gotta know your audience. Like you have to hear
Mm.
your client or, the people when they're like, yo, we really love this dish, but like, can you please bring the heat down? Can you bring the salt up? Like you have to hear
Oh,
them because
man.
in your mind, you may be like, no, this is perfect. But if somebody else is telling you this is good, but it needs more salt, the goal should be that when you eat the food, they don't have to add anything else to it. A
Yeah.
perfectly cooked steak, do it need steak sauce?
Man, no. No.
No.
Oh, no.
No. And that same concept applies across all food. If the food is cooked to where you are speaking to everyone, they don't need to add nothing to it
Man,
at all.
I didn't taste one of the best steaks I've ever had in my life. And, I'm not a steak eater, and literally, the chef was like, "All I put was salt and pepper." I said, "Yeah, right." That wasn't just salt and pepper. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it wasn't all the little crazy things, it's just the way I cooked it. I was like, "Okay, okay, okay, okay." But man, but but it was the way and how they cooked it and all that kind of stuff. It was really good. I agree with you too, man. But going back to your earlier statement, it was like when you get older and you get exposed to different types of food, different way of preparing food. I'm not gonna say I have an acquired taste for certain foods, but man, I
Mhm.
do got more of an admiration for like different type of styles of food because I try them. I try them. I always say this. I really don't say no to trying anything new.
Mhm.
I'm gonna try it at least once. And when I do it, I'm like, "Ooh, man, this food was cooked like this when I was in Hawaii. Man, this food was cooked like this when I was in the." And I remember what it tastes like.
Yeah.
So I do understand what you're talking about, but man,
I want to say this though. Let me add this because I don't want somebody to take it and be like, but
go ahead.
I don't believe in completely watering down who you are as a chef or a cook just to make everything familiar.
Mhm.
Right. So something you mentioned about straddling the fence. I'm constantly straddling the fence between this is how Chef Adam would like to do it versus this is what 150 people at this wedding is going to actually enjoy or at this event or whatever.
Mhm.
And I think that's where experience comes in because I've learned what I can push. I've learned where I can introduce somebody to something different. I've learned where I can respect what people already know and love. But ultimately, I'm not cooking to prove to you how sophisticated I am. I'm cooking because I want you to enjoy the food. I want 5 years from now for you to be like, yo, I had this pasta from Chef Adam and Ink Chef, and my God. Kind of like the moments you had, like, yo, I had that corn.
Yeah.
This was 3 years ago,
Yeah, yeah, 3
and
years ago.
your
I'm
reaction
still
is
talking about
still like, "Man," right? So sometimes as chefs, we can get so caught up in a technique and what something is supposed to be that we forget the person eating doesn't care about our ego. They don't care about none of that. They just know whether they enjoyed it or not. So, I want my personality in the food. I want you to know Yeah, Ink Chef cooked that.
Yeah.
But I also want grandma, the 5-year-old, the foodie, the person who doesn't know anything about culinary technique to all be like able to go back for another plate. Balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Compromise. I'm not compromising my standards, but I'm understanding my audience. And that's a hard, heavy thing you gotta learn in any industry, but in the food for sure.
Look, let's switch gears a little bit. I have seen you, to my audience, I have seen you traveling near
Yeah.
and far with your culinary arts, all types of events, like you just mentioned earlier, wedding. How does one gain that type of respect from somebody that's in Texas, California, say, you know what, I want to fly you out to X, Y, and Z? How did you get to that point to where you start taking your show on the road like that and international? How did you do that?
Connecting. Literally going around networking. There's been a lot of events that I've went and like I don't post everything, right? And I post things when the time is right. I go to a lot of events and I network. I help chefs. Like, hey, do you need assistance? I'll come. There's a lot of messaging on social media with me and people, some big comedians, just a lot of people in general. And I'm like, I'll see them putting on events. And I'm like, hey, do you need a chef to come and help? Do you guys need a helping hand? And that's the piece that like you get people who want to like clout for that. I don't want the clout for that. Because what's gonna happen is like to your point, when you see me all of a sudden post like, yeah, so the army flew me out to Fort Bliss and my team to cater for them. It's because of things like that, the seeds that I'm already
Yes.
sowing early
Auto.
for a harvest later that has continuously came. Went and did a
Yes.
40th wedding anniversary for a beautiful couple. At their tasting, they had all military there moving to Hawaii. Chef, we want to fly you and your team to Hawaii. What? Like, but again, it's the work.
I
It's
love
the work behind the scenes,
I
like
love it.
putting that work in. Like, I have put a lot of chips in a lot of places, helping chefs locally and far and abroad. And now I'm just in the season where I'm sitting back watching the
Whoa.
harvest. I'm cashing chips in, and I'm not even cashing all the chips in. We ain't even in a quarter of the chips.
We still going there, dog.
We just dropping jewels. Like boom. All right, we on the way. Right? I got something big happening at the end of the month. I ain't even spoke on it, nothing. But it was all because I went to Florida and did I didn't even know this major chef's niece's wedding, and he was there, and the whole family was chef. And I'm not gonna lie, I was super intimidated. I was like, oh my gosh, this just gotta be on point. And then I just finally got out of my head and I was like, you know what? No, we gonna do me. And shout out to Chaz, he literally looked at me in that moment. He hugged me and he's like, Chef, this is phenomenal. I'm bringing you here at the end of August to cook with all these Caribbean chefs. I was like, all right, that's gonna be crazy. And he looked at me and he said, but what I need you to do is remember, be your unapologetic self. Who gives a damn? Who cares what anybody else say? Be you. Because the people who gonna want to rock with you, they're gonna rock
You
with
gonna
you
rock with
regardless.
it. What?
And that I took what he said to heart.
Yeah.
And I have unapologetically been me. For the last couple of years, I've spared a lot of people.
Man,
And I don't mean that as a shot. I
I
mean that
got
as
you.
some real G stuff. Like I spared a lot of people. And it's just like, nobody's safe no more. Like we gonna go out here, we gonna be unapologetic, and we just gonna keep watching the doors open. My life, your entertainment, you watch it, we gonna live it.
Dude, talk to him. God, drop the mic, man. Shit, just go ahead and drop the mic. Drop the fork, man. Drop the fork.
Oh
Man,
man.
hey. But look, but no, you're right, man, because I recently posted a TikTok short of me saying, it feels good to be me. And when I'm saying that is because so many years you look to appease a lot of individuals around you. Sometimes not even on purpose, but you end up doing it because you're so used to it. And when you do that, you kind of shun the true you that's on the inside. And so when you walking apologetically in your light, you walking apologetically in your light through you, your culinary through you, the way you cook, and then people love it, they gravitate towards you. Man, you like life has rewarded me for being me.
Yeah.
Man, you mean to tell me I can be me unapologetically? And that was a real reason why I had posted it, man. I was doing some reflection on myself, and I was like, it's so good, man, to just be me in my skin. I ain't asking for nobody approval or their validation. It just
Yeah.
I'm walking in my purpose, and I'm trying to get it to the world freely.
You know what else that is though, Ken?
Was it?
That's freedom.
Ooh,
It's peace. You in them moments when you get to a point of saying what you just said,
yeah.
you are now truly you're sitting down choosing who gets access to you.
Talk to me.
In every aspect, like it's not about being able to say no to something that doesn't align, without being terrified about, oh, this opportunity won't come. It's creating opportunities for other people without destroying yourself, trying to save everybody else. Access is being able to look at what you've built and know I didn't have to become somebody I didn't respect in order to build it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Adam,
I
stop
got to be
doing it,
me
dog.
and y'all rocked with me. You know what I'm saying? Like sponsorships that by the grace of God, that I've gotten during music and even as a chef, I was me. Tattooed out, like piercings, jewelry, like I was me.
Yeah, yeah.
And they rocked with me for me. It wasn't, oh well, he's nah. I'm Robin's son. You get what you get. Is if you rock with me or you don't, and if you don't, it's cool. It's no love lost.
Wow.
It is what it is. Like
Yeah,
it's the whole world out here.
man, man. Look. I gotta keep this. This could go on and on. Man, because look, you might have to come on for part two, man. Not even for the culinary stuff. I can tell you've been working on you, bro. I can tell.
Yeah,
And then so when you do that, man, your light shine. Like and I mean it, your light shine. I tell this to my bub all the time. Those who've been on that journey and deciding to live life for them become that beacon, that lighthouse when everybody else is in the dark. And then so you just stand out. I feel that. I feel it. So yeah. So yeah, and this is I have you on, yes, for you and your culinary passion, but man, I can tell you, bro. I can tell you, man, you changing the world one plate at a time.
that's it. That's the
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah,
That's the goal.
you really doing that, bro. And then I want to ask you this question before we get to Ken's top three. I mean, Ken's final three questions. When you're embarking on a, hey, Poppy Beastro, I want you to come out to, I'll say San Juan. Or no, I'm gonna say this. I want you to come out to Illinois, and I want you to, uh, cater for 200 and so guests. Hey, do you ask them, hey, what type of food do you want? What type of setting is this place so you can do your homework to see what you want to bring? Or how does that process go?
Yeah, so I have like a list of questions, like a almost like an interview that I ask every client. Doesn't matter where they are. But to your point, like I want to know like, the venue. Or is there cooking equipment? Is there a kitchen, warmers, ice makers? Like those are important things to know. How many guests? Are there any food allergies that I should know about? Like I go through this whole process with them, and then too many times in food, like we already go to a restaurant, for example, and we have to pick up from a menu, right? And there's no deviating from that outside of like, oh, I don't want onions or, whatever. But when you cater, like you control that. You control all that. And my whole thing was, it's your money. You want to go to the moon? We're going to go to the moon. We're going to go to infinity and beyond. If you like, hey, chef, I need to stay within the earth atmosphere, then we're going to do that. But at the end of the day, you spending your money, and if you spending your money, I'm not going to limit you. You tell me what you want. Tell me what you like. What's the things what are some must-haves on your menu? What are some things that absolutely do not put this on my menu no matter what?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to customize what you want. How you answer my questions, I'm going to customize it and give you the perfect menu that not only you'll look back and be like, man, I got all the things I wanted in this event. I'm going to customize it to how you answer those questions
Man,
in every instance. That's how I do it.
wow, 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 that's amazing. That is amazing. Um, you know, I'm gonna ask you some more. I'm gonna I'm gonna ask you some other things after this. But let's get to the Ken's final three questions. Are you ready for this?
Let's do it.
All right. Is there a question you wished I'd asked during this interview that I did not ask?
No,
Good
no, not
deal.
at all. Not at
Ding, ding,
all.
ding. All right, so look, the good thing about that, I got 3 more questions.
Or-
Look, look, what is something you know now that could have saved you years of heartache and pain?
you can't take everybody with you.
Ooh.
Straight like that. Like you can't you boy. Mm. When this interview get played back, it's gonna be a lot of people be like, I told him that. You can't everybody ain't meant to go with you. And in time, people are going to show you who they are. You gotta believe it.
Mm,
Straight
boy,
like that.
boy, I can tell you that, boy. Your heart's big and you want to take everybody with you, man, but sometimes you feel like you're in the middle of the ocean and you actually trying to carry an anchor at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for real.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
real.
yeah. I understand that. Next question. What's a negative event that happened in your life that turned out to be one of the biggest blessings?
Gonna get deep with
You can
this.
think about it. You can think about it, though.
Nah, this is I got asked this question in music.
Talk to me.
Um so my biological father didn't raise me. My stepdad did. And in my eyes, that man is forever my dad. Um, and it hurts, right? Because I'm 39 and not meeting your father ever as a man. And I don't even want to make this about race because a man, period, but even as a black man,
Yep.
it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Because the stereotype is our dads ain't in the home. You know what I'm saying? So to look back at what my family came from and where I sit in today's time in the world and the man that I've become, I owe that all to the man that my mother married
Yes,
to
sir.
my dad. You know what I'm saying? Because like he did everything that my biological never did. So that's probably one of the biggest blessings that it was a tough time and it was hard and I didn't understand. And even becoming an adult, I still didn't understand like the why. Like, what did I do? I ain't asked to be here, bro.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But looking at the positive aspect of it is just like, but look at what all you have become.
Yeah.
Look at all the people that you have touched.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I guess I'm doing pretty good.
Man. Man, I commend you for that. I commend you for that. And I don't know if you follow my show much, but I'm one of 5 children myself, born to a single mom. And, I definitely can understand where you coming from. And then, I think my life has been enriched by it. If not, I don't think I've been so hungry to find more information and be so open to, learn from individuals all around me. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I do share that sentiment. Thanks for sharing that.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And,
sir.
last question. What's the best piece of advice that you could leave for the next generation?
If there was if there was one thing I want somebody watching to take away from this, um, it's that your life doesn't have to look the way you originally planned it for it to still become something beautiful. I've had wins, I've had losses, I've had moments where I've had to pivot, rebuild, figure out who Adam was. Um, I've cried, I've prayed, I turned away. For those who on the spiritual journey, you understand what I mean when I say I turned away. Um, and I'm still figuring some of that out. But I learned that sometimes you have to be willing to bet on yourself
Mm.
before anybody else sees the vision. You can be scared and still move. You can lose something and still rebuild. You can start over without starting from nothing because you're bringing everything you learned with you.
Oof. Man. Mm. Ladies and gentlemen, he may be a poet as well. I don't know. I don't know, but man, I love how you said that, bro. I really do. And I think that's well worth ending the show on. But before I do, where can my viewing audience get in contact with Chef Adam Poppy Beastro? How can they get in contact with you? How can they support your mission?
www.inkedchef.com. INKD chef.com. That's our website. It's a simple website, but it has all our socials, contact information, email. You can reach us through the website or social media. One place, multiple sources. Simple.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks for sharing it. And ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we have come to, and it seems like I don't want to get off this session right now. I really, but we got to, man, because I know the YouTube algorithm wants them short, and I'm trying to make sure I abide by some of those. And we probably got to have you on for the part two, series up,
Yeah, for
when your
sure.
schedules allow. I mean, when our schedules allow. So, I hope my viewers have gained a wealth of knowledge from the kitchen and out of the kitchen, all from what you provided for us today. You've really given us a lot of things to think about. And as I mentioned, man, there are so many stories in this world. There are so many ways to get to to their individual point. And you get a chance to decide where that is. And Adam so eloquently described to you his journey of ups and downs, self-discovery, pivoting, and daring to continue to push the envelope. And I think we can learn a lot about that. So if you would, please go ahead and follow this gentleman. And if you having your next event, please reach out to him. I'll tell you, you're going to love it. You will not regret it.
Yes, do.
And this has been another episode of Talks with Ken. Continue to live in purpose, on purpose, not by accident. All right. Until our next conversation, this is Kendrick and Chef Adam. Peace.
Peace.